Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast. Tonight's guest covers all sports pretty much for the Battle of the Hudson. This is, I believe, your sixth time on the podcast, right, Derek Felix?
Believe it or not, it actually is. But that's half a baker's dozen for me.
Half a baker's dozen for you, and I think a couple other people have six. I think my buddy Jeff Burns might have been on 6 times. Jeff Maglicetti from Twitter. Our buddy Jeff.
Our buddy Jeff, yeah, he's an interesting personality.
Yeah, he's a fun personality. He's been on a couple times as well. Maybe not as many as you, but he's been on at least 3 or 4 times as well. He was on a few weeks ago. He talked a little bit of baseball, and I think we did football as well. All right, so let's talk some NBA first. Did you watch any opening night?
I really didn't. I mean, maybe because I was really locked in on baseball last night. The World Series, but I mean, I took a peek. I took a peek at the Raptors game. That looked like it was actually a pretty good game. Let it go into overtime. That looked pretty good. I did happen to catch the highlights on the NBA, on the fantastic NBA on TNT of both games, including the Clippers beating the Lakers. I kind of laughed at that. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, your boy Montrezl Harrell played well in that game. He gave some toughness and attitude. That's what I like about that Clippers team. They have a lot of grit to them, and that's why I picked them to win the championship, because they're deep, they have a lot of grit, they're going to play defense. The 2 stars are obviously there. Hall of Fame-bound coach and Doc Rivers. Who was your pick to win the title?
Wow, that's a loaded question, Madison. I didn't really make a pick at this point. It's like, I kind of feel like if I had to pick one team, I'm leaning towards the 76ers. I think that this could be their year. I mean, I feel like that West is going to be so hard. You know, I almost feel like everybody's talking about the LA teams. Nobody's really talking about. We're not talking about the Nuggets, who probably have more depth than the Lakers do.
They do.
They're not talking about the Rockets. And they're not talking about a bunch of teams. Portland also. I mean, it's like, I feel like the Sixers, I'm going to pick the Sixers to help it. I'm picking the Sixers. I'm going to go with an Eastern Conference team. This is their chance. The Raptors, losing Kawhi, losing Danny Green, that's going to hurt. They're still going to be a good team. But I mean, I don't really think there's a lot of teams in the East that could challenge them.
Yeah. Yeah, I took the Sixers to represent the Eastern Conference. I took Sixers over the Bucks in the Eastern Finals, and then LA over LA in the West, Clippers over Lakers. And want to know something funny? You mentioned how the Nuggets have depth. I picked the Nuggets as my number 1 seed in the Western Conference this year. What do you make of that prediction?
I like it. I like your prediction of them being the number 1 seed in the West.
Me too.
I mean, I think they're still a very good team. I mean, obviously. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like the Lakers are going to be. They're a little short on depth, and when you get like 28 points from Danny Green, and you're going up against Kawhi, and the only guy who really gave the Clippers anything in their starting lineup, aside from Kawhi, was Beverly, because he's gritty and he just knows how to play the game. But the Clippers' bench is just so much better. I think that could be a problem for the Lakers. I know that they had a couple of guys out. I do understand that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually aren't as good as people are anticipating.
Yeah, I had them at, I think, 52 wins and the 4th seed in the West. And I had the Clippers at 54 wins with the 3 seed in the West. I lowered their win totals because of load management. I expect to see a lot of LeBron James, load management. Kawhi Leonard, load management. Anthony Davis, load management. Paul George, load management. I think you're going to see a lot of load management. And that's why I didn't pick the Sixers as my 1 seed in the East, because I think you're going to see a lot of Joel Embiid. What's the term I just said? Load management, right? Because I feel like that's going to be a theme this season. That's why I took the Bucks for the 1 seed and the Nuggets as the other 1 seed. Do you think load management's a thing again this year?
I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when I look at Kawhi, you know what? You know why I like the Clips? Because Kawhi makes everybody better on his team. He's great defensively. He's great athletically. You got Charles Barkley saying that he made LeBron look unathletic last night. Yeah, because LeBron is getting older. Yeah, he's getting older. I mean, really. I mean, he's not. It's not going to be easy. I mean, when you look at him and you look at obviously Anthony Davis. That's a great dynamic duo, Madison. But they're going to have to get contributions from other pieces. Like Kyle Kuzma. I know he did not play last night. Danny Green. And you don't know. Danny Green could have a game like last night, and then he could disappear. I mean, he's just you don't know what you're going to get. So I feel I don't know. Another team that we're not talking about is Utah Jazz.
They're good.
That's another team that we're not really talking about, but they're actually a pretty good team as well. I'm curious to see how the Warriors do with all the injuries they have when they make the playoffs. That's a question as well. I mean, if I was going to pick a final, I probably would go Sixers and Clippers also, like you, because I like the coach. I like what the Clippers have. I like Steph. I guess there's more. I don't know. Who has more pressure? Who do you think has more pressure? The Clippers? Or do you think it's more about the 76ers because of Embiid and because of Ben Simmons? Do you think has
more pressure? I'd say the Clippers because they went out and acquired George and Leonard in the offseason, and they're the preseason Vegas favorites to win the title. So to me, it's the Clippers. But
I'm gonna say the Sixers. Just I'll tell you why. Your reasoning actually is very good. I'm going opposite only because I feel like when I look at the Sixers, when you add an Al Horford and you re-sign a Toby Harris, even like adding like Trey Burke as their backup point guard. I don't think he's going to start, but that's a good move. Trey Burke is a nice player. So I think they're loaded. I look at the Sixers, I see a team that's loaded, and if they, so I think there is pressure. There's pressure on Embiid, and there's going to be pressure on Ben Simmons to deliver because they were that close, beating the Raptors and probably conference final and probably winning it. So getting to the final. So I'm gonna say there's pressure on the Sixers this year.
yeah, you're not wrong either. You could go either or. Good points there. I agree with you about Simmons and Embiid. I think there's pressure on. I think they're the team that's facing the most pressure in the Eastern Conference this year. I'll put it that way. If there's a team that's facing the most pressure in the Eastern Conference, it's the Sixers, but you could argue the Bucks as well because Giannis is inching closer and closer to free agency. And if that team underachieves this year, you're going to be starting to hear the rumblings a la Anthony Davis last year. So just keep an eye out for the Bucks. But I do think the Bucks are going to be good. I have Giannis actually repeating as my MVP. Who do you have as your MVP this year?
God, I don't want to pick the same person. We pick the same final, God.
It's okay if we agree.
I want to be different here. If he stays healthy, if he does stay healthy on the court and he actually is motivated, Anthony Davis could win the MVP.
Not a bad pick.
He could win the MVP.
Not bad.
If the Lakers have a big year, he could win the MVP. He's always had the talent to win MVP. I mean, he's definitely one of the best players. He's their best player. The only problem with him winning MVP is that he plays with LeBron. So that's probably, like when you play off a guy like that, it's like it can kind of take away some votes. I think Kawhi is the best player.
I know you love Kawhi.
I'm gonna pick Kawhi. All right.
I had a feeling you were gonna go there. Him or Embiid?
Yeah. Embiid. I was thinking about Embiid actually. So it's like we're almost on the same wavelength. I just didn't want to pick Giannis, so I went with Kawhi.
That's not a bad pick. If the load management is not as much as it was in Toronto, then I could see a world where he wins and say George misses more time than him. I could see a world where Kawhi Leonard wins for sure. Who's a team that you think could surprise people in the league this year?
A team that could surprise. Well, I mean, there's a couple that I could think of. One, you could put a star next to this team because a lot's going to depend on how somebody that we spoken a lot about, online, how he does. I would say the Dallas Mavericks. That could be a team that could surprise, especially with what they have over there with Luka. But I think that all hinges on Kristaps Porzingis. And he looks great, but I don't know how he's going to be on the court. I don't know if he'll stay on the court. You can't. I don't want to. I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
I still like Porzingis. I hope he does well there. But that would be one of the teams that I would say. Another team. If I pick one from the West, then I gotta pick one from the East, right?
Doesn't matter.
All right, so
you could do that way if you like.
I think this team, if they put it together, they could sneak up and make the playoffs. I don't see why not. The Atlanta Hawks, which is a pretty good pick. They're that team that I could see sneaking in there.
The Hawks were my pick to make the playoffs as the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. So
you know what? I am right there with you.
We're not alone.
We're definitely in agreement on that. I like what they've got there. I'm very curious to see how Cam Reddish does. He's actually going to start tonight. He's starting tonight.
He's going to start tonight?
So I want to see how he fits now that he's not playing for Duke, where it was basically going through Zion. It's too bad he's out for a couple months. And you had R.J. Barrett, and we're going to get to see him play for the Knicks. That's going to be exciting as well. So I like that team. It's weird. They made the trade, right? They made the trade. The Hawks and the Mavericks, the big draft exchange, and I feel like both those teams would be good picks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mavericks. I don't think the Mavericks are going to make the playoffs.
Me neither.
But the Hawks could.
If the Mavericks were in the East, I'd pick them to make the playoffs.
Because the East we know the East is not great, and don't forget, right? Don't forget too that the Hawks also added DeAndre Hunter as well. So
love that guy.
They added him to that roster. You got Trae Young running that point. They have a really solid roster. So yeah, why not? Why can't they make the playoffs?
Yeah, that was my pick my surprise pick of the East, and I bumped out Orlando because I wasn't sure if I just kind of think that was a 1-year wonder. I'm not a big on DJ Augustine, their point guard. I like Vucevic and I like Aaron Gordon and I like Steve Clifford, but I'm just not sold on the Magic, so I bumped them out and put in the Hawks, and then obviously I have the Miami Heat in there with Jimmy Butler. And I had to remove somebody, and the team I removed from last year is the Pistons because of the health of Blake Griffin and how he never stays healthy anymore. Are you high on Orlando or Detroit this year, or do you think they're both lottery teams?
Lottery teams. I feel like you when it comes to Orlando. I don't really know what they are. I don't know what they are, and that doesn't. It's like you can't trust that. It's like basically the Charlotte Hornets, who are really the Bobcats. I still think of them as Bobcats because the real Hornets, basically went to New Orleans, down to the Pelicans, and I don't know what they're going to be either. So it's like, I think you could X out a couple of teams out of the playoffs, and a couple of other teams could sneak in. That's how the East is set up.
Yeah, the Hornets are easily the worst team in the NBA. If we were just talking about teams I think are going to regress from last year, and I have Orlando and Detroit as my flop disappointment teams in the East. If you're looking for disappointment teams in the West, I'm going to go with Dallas because I just don't think they make the playoffs in the loaded conference, and New Orleans because Zion's injured. And guess what? I wouldn't have picked New Orleans to make the playoffs regardless of the Zion injury. It's only because that they're in a loaded West, and I believe in San Antonio more than I believe in New Orleans. That's what it came down to for me for the West. Who's your most disappointing team?
I don't want to pick the Pelicans because I think they saw last night that they should be competitive. Disappointing teams. I kind of like your. I don't know. You could tell that I kind of feel the same way as you about Orlando. So that would be one of them, obviously, because I don't trust them. I don't trust them enough. The West.
I know a team that you're not a big.
I'm trying to think of a team that could drop. That could drop. Maybe take a little bit of a drop from where they were.
I'm surprised you haven't said a certain team that you try to that you're a little harsh on Twitter every once in a while. You have a nickname for them, and they have a star player that you're not a fan of. I'll give you that hint.
The Rockets?
Yeah.
I actually, that's funny. I do give them a hard time, but I actually think they'll be good.
I think they're the 5 seed in the West.
I think they should definitely be in the top 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made the conference final. I'm just curious to see how it's all going to work out there.
Okay.
Has D'Antoni learned anything? Can Westbrook and James Harden coexist? But God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Golden State.
That won't stun me.
I think that when you lose what they lost, I mean, it's really hard. It's hard to. They might be fighting for an 8 seed. They might be fighting with the Spurs and a couple of other teams just to make the playoffs. And that's no disrespect. That's no disrespect to Steph Curry and Dre Green. I call him Dre for short.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how D'Angelo Russell's going to fit on that team. And Klay Thompson looks like he's going to be out for the year. And obviously, you don't replace Kevin Durant at all. So, I'm just wondering. And don't you think teams are just they're going to obviously game plan a lot differently for Steph Curry?
Oh yeah. And then they have the other guard to guard in Russell. They have 2 guards now. I mean, they did have 2 guards with Thompson and Curry, but Russell's really a point guard. So they basically have 2 point guards out there now. So it's like a different look. I'm intrigued to see the Warriors play.
I look at Russell as it's weird. I feel like he's more of a score first mentality because he's a streaky 3-point shooter. Sometimes it's there. His 3-pointer was a little better last year for the Nets. And he does like to take the ball to the hoop, but he will also distribute it. So, if you were a fantasy basketball, right? If you were in fantasy basketball and you think, and you had Curry, and then maybe you have Russell, you would think that they're each going to get 5. They could each get 5 assists in games, or one of them could have 8, and the other if they share the ball. That's if they share the ball. But the whole key to that team, to me, is still Draymond Green. Because Draymond Green is the glue of that team. He's the guy who likes to distribute the ball. So, that's another thing. By you add D'Angelo Russell, is that going to affect how Drake Green, is that going to affect some of what Drake Green does? I mean, because he needs to score more probably. Which means he better have worked on his jump shot. I mean, and obviously he's good at running the floor. I think they also added Willie Cauley-Stein. That actually might be a help on the block, but in terms of rebounding. But I'm just curious how that's all going to play out.
Yeah, me too.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people pick Golden State to miss the playoffs. I believe Stephen A. picked Golden State to miss the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I know a lot of people that I follow and respect in the media picked Golden State to miss the postseason. All right, let's switch gears and let's talk about the World Series a little bit. What are your takes from Game 1?
Well, I think there's one that really stands out for me, and I think for you too. Because we're in pain still. I'm not in pain anymore, but that was a tough loss.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's two things. One, I want to commend the Washington Nationals approach. What I mean by that, obviously, is just what they did against Derek Cole. They didn't panic. They didn't. Yes, they did get a big home run from Juan Soto, who was great. He's great. I mean, he's just phenomenal. He'll be 21 on Friday. But look at the approach that they had to go from 2 runs to 5 runs, where you had Soto going to the opposite field for the big double that scored 2 runs, and you had Adam Eaton just putting the bat on the ball. And that's what I feel like was missing from the Yankees in terms of their lineup. I felt like they didn't have enough of that, And I really liked what I saw from the Nats in terms of their approach. Cole obviously wasn't sharp, and obviously everything. Max Scherzer, even though he only went 5 innings, he gave up 2 runs in the first inning, right? So he gives up 2 in the first, and he pitched very tough in the next 4 innings to keep it at 2 runs. And he gave his team a chance. And the Nats offense is better than the Yankee offense because they actually put the bat on the ball and they could actually work the counts. And I think that's what we saw in Game 1.
In the playoffs, the Nats offense has been better than the Yankees offense, and it's because of
I think their offense is better.
Oh, right now it is.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Right now, you're right.
And
yes.
You know what? I'm not trying to look. I think our lineup, the Yankee lineup is sensational, but when it comes up against good pitching, it has problems. And I watched the Nats, and I watched them down the stretch. What they go like 55 and 20 something.
They were the best team in the National League down the stretch. Absolutely, they deserve a lot of credit for that.
They were awesome. They're fantastic. You know what it is? Like, you look at their lineup, there just aren't a lot of weak spots. I mean, Ryan Zimmerman is supposed to be washed up, right? He got them started. He hit the home run, and he's had a good playoffs. And if he didn't put together a good at bat against the Brewers, this is where it started for me.
Yep.
He put together a great at bat against the Brewers, and he was able to get that loop single just over the infield against Josh Hader. And then Anthony Rendon, instead of chasing Hader's stuff, he was behind in the count. I remember it. He was behind in the count. He got it full, and he handed the baton over. And then Soto came through with that big hit, and there was that misplay from the Brewers rookie right fielder. That's where it started. It's almost like they're a team of destiny.
I think they are a team of destiny.
I'm very curious just on what happens with Game 2. This time, and again, it's Verlander. It's Verlander again for the Astros, but he's going up against Strasburg. The Yankees were this close. If they were that close, going up 2 games to none. It would be our team if they had won that game. I don't think
agree.
they would have blown 2 games to none lead against them. So I'm very curious to see when the Nats get that second game. Yeah. And if they don't, what's going to happen? What's going to happen over the series?
Yeah, it should be very interesting. And yeah, the Nats offense, if you're saying right now it's better than the Yankee offense, it might be better than the Astro offense right now too, because the Astro offense is similar to the Yankee offense in the Yankee series, because they're trying for the home run, and then the Yankee pitching did its job and got them outs. And so did the Nats pitching yesterday, with the exception of Tanner Rainey out of the bullpen in the 7th inning. And, you got to give George Springer credit. He's the only guy that's really hitting for Houston other than Altuve in the playoffs. Jordan Alvarez has stunk. Bregman's been very disappointing.
He did get a couple hits yesterday, finally, but Jesus Christ. When he came up, right? When he came up with the bases loaded, and he got blown away and struck out. So you're right about that. I agree with you on the Astros. I don't think their offense is as good as we They do a great job there, and that's why Scherzer's pitch count was what it was, and we saw the same thing with Tanaka. It impacts it as well. But Bregman has not gotten a big hit. He didn't do anything against the Yankees. Other than a big fielder's choice, which was really a double play if our shortstop Beatty hadn't looked at home. I didn't understand that at all. But it got the fourth run in. But is Bregman going to get a big hit for them? I mean, it's been basically George Springer, Carlos Correa, and of course the Nat. That's what I call him, the Nat. That's my nickname for him. Altuve, who I can't stand, but he's amazing. I mean, that's their offense right now.
Yeah, and I forgot about Correa. I got to give him credit too. And you know what? I should have given him more credit on Twitter for Game 2 than I trashed the Yankees because he made that great play to pretty much save them the game with the DJ LeMahieu play in Game 2. If not for that, we're talking about the Yankees in the World Series, not the Astros.
You're breaking my heart.
I know, I'm sorry, but when you mentioned Carlos Correa, I can't help but think of that. He's incredible. I forgot about Carlos Correa talking about the Astros offense. But yeah, he deserves credit too. He's gotten a bunch of big hits for them as well.
25. He's only 25. That's the scary part.
Yeah. What was your prediction for the series?
I like the Nats. I like them. I just think I don't know. There's something about them. I just think they're going to get it done. I'm going to say 6 games. Originally, I was going to say 5. But no, I don't think they'll beat the Astros in 5.
That's a little nuts.
They're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to have to win. They're going to have to win another game in Houston. So they're going to have to win in 6.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 6. Would I be surprised if it went 7? No, I would not. But I don't. I would not want to play a Game 7 in that place. Not want to do that.
I agree.
And I thought they were totally blowing the game last night. I was just like, oh God, they're gonna blow this.
I thought they were blowing it too.
Give Doolittle credit.
Absolutely. Yeah, he and Daniel Hudson have been pretty much saviors in that bullpen, and really those guys have gotten big outs for them when it mattered, and certainly dates back to the Dodgers series as well. And Anibal Sanchez has had a good playoff for them, and that said, I still think the Astros find a way to win the series. I don't know if they'll go 6 like my original prediction, but I still think they are very likely to win the series. But that said, I won't be surprised at all if the Nationals win the series at all, and they are a much better team than I really think they're being perceived to be by the media, because so many people are picking the Astros, and even the lines in Vegas reflect it. Everybody loves the Astros, and the Nats were basically 2-1 underdogs in the series, which is insane to me. 2-1 underdogs, Derek.
Madison. Well, I saw all this stuff, and I'm not like you when it comes to. But I saw it, and I was just like, well, I understand how good the Astros are, but wait a second, you're going to disrespect a Nats rotation where they can actually throw 4 guys at you, including Patrick Corbin. By the way, I got to give Martinez credit. Martinez didn't mess around. Scherzer was at 111 pitches through 5 innings. He got Corbin in it, and he gave him a good inning. So, I mean, with Patrick Corbin, with Strasburg, with Scherzer, unless their starters don't go deep and their bullpens just fold apart. And the bullpens are very similar, right? Isn't Ryan Presley out now?
Ryan Presley's injured. He got hurt in the Yankee series.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate, what happened there. But, I mean, the bullpens are pretty much even. Maybe you give a little edge to the Astros. Maybe they got one more arm and Joe Smith. But losing Ryan Presley hurts. So it's I feel like their starting pitching, it basically, what's the word I'm looking for?
Even.
It basically takes away evens out. It takes away the Astros' greatest strength. So that means it's going to come down. It could come down to the lineups. And I like the Nats lineup better right now. I just like what I've seen. Guys like Howie Kendrick, they're going to put the bat on the ball. I mean, they are. I mean, it's just Ryan Zimmerman's going to give them good at bats. You wouldn't think so, but he's still continuing to do it. And even having, what's his name, Suzuki, behind the plate, he's going to do what Sanchez didn't do. He's going to block balls. He's not going to give great at bats, but he is a threat to hit the ball out. Which is similar to what Astros have. What do they have? Chirinos and Maldonado.
Yeah, they have
similar
platoon too.
Yeah, the teams are very similar. They're actually very similar teams.
Yeah.
So that's why it should be a really good series.
I think it's gonna be a phenomenal series. One more baseball thing before we move on to our NFL picks. David Ross was hired by the Cubs to be their next manager. What do you make of that hire? Strange.
Look, yes. It's not so much that. Look, I think he's a really nice guy, and he's a fan favorite, obviously, in Chicago, obviously for what he did, for being a key part of that championship team, and they love him. They love him there in Wrigley. I just don't understand. He could do a good job. He's inexperienced. He doesn't have experience. So it's almost like it's very similar to the Yankees when they hired Aaron Boone. It turned out to be a good manager. So I'm just curious. Why didn't they want Girardi? I'm very curious. Why did they go with Ross?
I'm surprised that Girardi's first choice wasn't the Cubs. I wonder if Mike thought on why they didn't hire Girardi. I wonder if they had some inside sources and they didn't like how they handled Girardi handled Sanchez, and they didn't want Girardi being like that to Contreras or any of the young players on the Cubs, and how disciplined he is. So maybe they went with Ross because that would just entice the fan base. That's how I look at it, and I think that Girardi's going to Philadelphia, by the way, and the Met fans are going to be miserable because Girardi goes to Philly instead of their team. And
don't you think? I just want to say something. Don't you think that Girardi wants to go to the Mets? It seems that way.
I think Girardi rather go to Chicago or Philadelphia because the Mets are just dysfunctional. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I could be wrong. And Girardi ends up with the Mets, but I think Girardi's going to Philly. Incarcerated Bob on Twitter thinks it's a done deal. And our buddy Incarcerated Bob tends to get shit right.
Really?
I think he's going to Philly.
If the Mets were more decisive on this, so Girardi would choose New York because he's been here before and he knows how to do it. But if they continue to struggle this, which it seems like they're doing, and which is because of their ownership, which is just, we know it's like a circus before it comes, then there's going to be a lot of Mets fans that are going to be very upset. So I think you could be right.
Yeah, and it's funny because if they hire Eduardo Perez, being fair here, I actually would be intrigued by that because that guy knows baseball. I watched him on ESPN through the last few years. That guy's a smart guy. He's been with teams before. To me, it depends on how he fills out his staff. And the same we said about Rossi with the Cubs. I wouldn't mind a possible hire of Eduardo Perez for the Mets. I just think that guy's a smart guy and knows baseball. And I think he'd be an upgrade over Mickey Callaway, obviously. So we'll see where the Mets go. I'm very fascinated to see who this quote-unquote bombshell candidate is that John Heyman is reporting that's out there. Who knows? Maybe it's David Wright for what it's worth. I don't think it's... I know Beltran's in play for this, and I think that would entice the fan base a little bit because he was an ex-Met, but you never know. And obviously Beltran was a candidate for the Yankee job, and I know a lot of Yankees Twitter wanted Beltran as our manager. That would have been fun if Beltran's manager. But I like Aaron Boone, though.
I mean, God, I was going to say something else, but no, I mean, everything you said was really interesting. I was kind of intrigued by it.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see where the Mets go, and I think Girardi to Philly is a near done deal. Before we go, I know lately on Twitter, you've been posting your favorite NFL picks of the week. That has becoming a trend on Twitter lately, and I normally do a 10-pack per week, 5 college, 5 NFL. give me one NFL pick you really like, either against the spread or like the over under if you have it in front of you. If not, just say it straight up.
I see a couple that stick out. Just looking at what I have here in front of me. Well, one is pretty obvious. And no disrespect to them. Who knows? Maybe they will show up and actually play. But the Cleveland Browns going to Foxborough to play the Pats. Patriots favored by 13. I just think the Patriots, they're probably going to blitz them. And you know, you look at the struggles that's going on there with Cleveland. I think that could be a long evening in Massachusetts for them. So I would definitely take the Pats in that one. Let's see, what else do I like? This is a game that doesn't have a line right now, and like anybody could see that the Falcons are a train wreck, and their coach obviously doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I mean, you know, the only thing that would scare me if I was a Seahawks fan is that, you know, Matt Ryan could put up numbers against anybody, but the Seahawks need that game. There's not even a line right now, and they're better. They're clearly better than the Falcons, so it's like they're going to get their coach fired any second, so I would probably pick Seattle.
Yeah, that's a fantastic pick by you. The reason why there's no line out right now is because of Matt Ryan's status with his ankle. That's why there's no line. I'm really mad that there's no line because there was a line on Monday, and Seattle was only favored by 3.5, and I was like jumping up and down, like, yay, I'm totally going to bet this game. But now it's off the board.
You were like, Madison got it like circled. She's like jumping up and down. I could see you jumping up and down in your shoes. I mean, so those two definitely stand out to me. So I mean, how about the Colts? They're only a 5.5 favorite against the Broncos. You know, the Broncos are a weird team, though. I don't know.
Broncos are the team that could show up and be competitive. So I'm staying away from that game. I'll give you 2 picks. Why not? I'm gonna take the over in the Oakland-Houston game because I think that both of these teams are just gonna score and score and score. I think that there's a chance the Texans can get the 40, and then the Raiders are a team that can easily get the 20. So why not take the over in Oakland-Houston? That's just a great game, a lot of points scored, and the Raiders have been a pleasant surprise this year. So I like the over in the Oakland-Houston game, and the other one I like is, how about the Panthers getting 5.5 in San Francisco against the Niners? Kyle Allen's been undefeated as a starter. I know the Niners, everybody's so excited because they traded for Emmanuel Sanders. Their defense has been playing out of its mind. I just think that game is going to be very close, and I won't be surprised if the Panthers win outright and hand the 49ers their first loss of the season.
I actually was looking at that one myself, and it's a pretty important game for the Panthers. You know, they're trying to hang in that division. You know, the Saints obviously are first. I was thinking about that myself. It depends if they can move the ball. I mean, if I had some great defenses right now, everybody probably thinks it's the Patriots 1. But I kind of think it's the 49ers 1 and maybe the Patriots 1A, or 1A and 1B. So, yeah, I mean, that's possible. You know, and I see the over-under is 42. Those teams will be lucky if they get to like 34 between them. I think I would take the under on that. So I agree with you on that. You know, there is one game that I definitely would take the over on. Green Bay at the Chiefs. I understand Mahomes is not playing, but you know the Chiefs, they can put up points. They still will put up points. And Aaron Rodgers, the way he's going, that NBC game, a Sunday night game. Don't you think there are going to be a lot of points? 47.5 total. I could see like a 31-24 score. Why not?
That won't stun me. But the Mahomes, I just don't like Matt Moore. That's my only issue. And plus, the Packers' defense is good.
All right. You always back up your arguments really good. So, very, very good insight.
Yeah, I don't know where I'd go on that game. If anything, I might lay the points with the Packers. But now there's rumors that Mahomes might play on Sunday night. Did you see he practiced today?
I totally missed it.
He practiced today. Are you kidding me? If Mahomes is back on Sunday, I'm changing my pick and taking the Chiefs.
They're trying to rush him back. Like, are they that panicked?
I think they're just doing it to spook the Packers, but I'm kidding. I probably won't take the Chiefs if Mahomes is back. I'd probably still take Green Bay because who knows if Mahomes' health. And that's why I took the Broncos on the Thursday night game against the Chiefs because, Mahomes was limping around in that Colts game, and then they lost that game to the Texans. That's why I took Denver in that game, and then I was wrong. Matt Moore lit up the Broncos, and that was like a complete surprise to me that the Broncos shit the bed on Thursday Night Football, an nationally televised home game. So, yeah, you never know with the Chiefs. They could beat the Packers. A lot of people do like the Chiefs as a dog this week, so we'll see what happens. Okay, I'll probably have you back on maybe in a month or two from now. We'll get into hockey next time I have you on. We'll do hockey. We'll do more football. Maybe baseball off-season stuff will be happening by then.
Oh, I can't wait to talk Rangers hockey with you. It's going to be thrilling.
Yeah. The Rangers need to get going a little bit. Them and the New Jersey Devils have both been disappointing so far. The Islanders are playing great.
At least Coach Quinn with his combos lines. That's what I call his lines. His lines are now sponsored by combos because he changes them so frequently. Kind of took one of my suggestions by deciding to split up Zibanejad and Panarin and moving Kakko to the first line. So I'm definitely looking forward to that tomorrow. How that goes.
That's an interesting move, but it's funny because before the season, I thought they were going to put Kakko on the top line with Panarin and Zibanejad. Because to me, those are their best three forwards. I'm not huge on Buchnevich, as you know, and I would probably put him in the middle, on the middle two lines. Chris Kreider's been invisible so far this year. That's surprising to me. What are your takes on the Devils so far, quickly before we go?
The Devils?
Yeah.
I mean, now they're going through the phase that the Rangers were going through, where they're not playing any games. I see a team that before they played the Rangers, just didn't have any structure. They didn't have structure.
They had to beat the Rangers in that game. They had to win that game, in my opinion.
Then and they moved Tom Fitzgerald, an assistant GM, down to the bench, and it seemed like it was a move, almost like it's a panic move, and it's almost like a watchdog move for John Hines. I wasn't a fan of that, but their structure has been bad. It was bad. You know what? The Rangers could have won that game. I mean, they did have a lot of the same pressure in the second period, but the Devils got some good goaltending from Mackenzie Blackwood in the last two games. Jack Hughes, finally scored his first goal, and of course it came with Nico Hischier out with the injury. Hines kind of mixed his lines up too, so it's almost like they're almost similar. They're in a similar spot for the Rangers where they're still trying to find their footing. That's what they're trying to do, and they need better play from PK Subban. He did get an empty net goal in a game, and that and then Subban and that and then their fees, and Andy Green's going to be back probably for the next game, so that should help.
Yeah, I don't even know when they play next. I know the Islanders are on tomorrow night, so are the Rangers.
You know what? The Islanders are hosting the Coyotes. The Coyotes is doing the whole metro area tour. So they played the Rangers last night, and they won in overtime. A game where they really outplayed the Rangers and thanked Georgiev for the point, along with Tony DeAngelo. And what they're doing next is they're playing the Islanders tomorrow, Thursday night, and then on Friday night the Devils will actually be back in action, and they'll get a tired Coyotes team in a back-to-back, so that can give them a chance at a actual 3-game winning streak. That's a winning streak.
The Devils could really use that.
Oh, and you know what? Here's the great part. The Devils play that one game, right? So they last played, what, on Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, they played somebody. I think it was a matinee game. Or no, Saturday against Vancouver.
Yes, that's right. They played Vancouver. Yeah, then the Rangers laid the egg against them. But so now they got the whole week off basically until Friday. They're going to play that one game, and I don't think the Devils play again until the following Wednesday. Isn't that great?
That's just so weird. The NHL scheduling this year is just weird, right?
It's almost like they're. I don't understand what they're doing, but I'm not going to complain because when the Rangers aren't on, I'm actually more excited to watch hockey.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel like that. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. It just depends on the matchup. Like tonight, it'd be a good example because it's Penguins Lightning. Like that's on paper a good game with a lot of big names on each side. So, I mean, that's probably third on my, or even the fourth game on my list tonight. Number 1 being the World Series. Number 2, the Knicks. And number 3, Sixers Celtics Eastern Conference debut on ESPN. And then the Lightning and the Penguins tonight. But yeah,
Are you gonna watch some of that?
What
or are you gonna watch the Knicks?
It depends on what's on commercial, what's not. Like I said, I'm probably gonna watch most of the World Series. Then Knicks, then the Sixers game, and then hockey. That'd be like my order tonight. And then after everything's over, like late night, I'm watching Nuggets Blazers. That's my late night game.
Who are the Nuggets playing?
The Blazers in Portland.
That's a good game.
That's a great game.
You know what? I might have to watch. I don't know.
Great game.
I mean, I got a little tidbit for you before we go. So the Rangers, they obviously didn't work out with Shattenkirk. Shattenkirk, of course, is in Tampa, and he's got 4 goals and assists so far. So that's kind of funny. And Vladislav Nemesnikov has 4 goals with Ottawa.
Oh my God! I did not even know that. Go figure. Oh my God.
If it wasn't so predictable, or actually that's not predictable, but it's just so funny.
I think it's more funny than predictable, honestly. Unbelievable. Yeah, so we'll talk more hockey, basketball, and whatever else is on the docket next time you come on the podcast, and it's always a pleasure to have you on.
I really appreciate it, Madison. It's great being back on. I hope that everything goes well for you, and best of luck with school as well.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it.